YouTube, with the Dallas Mavericks set to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the second round of the NBA playoffs. I want to talk about, some things I find really interesting about this series and who's going to win overall. A preview / prediction video here on the Thunder versus the Mavericks. Let's get right into it, folks. Not only do I think this can be one of the better series in the NBA playoffs, the West series are going to be insane. This series is no exception. I think, for me personally, this series between the Thunder and the Mavs is one of the harder ones to predict in the entire playoffs because I find these teams super evenly matched for completely different reasons. I will say my track record's pretty good this year in terms of playoff predictions, so I would hope I'm on the same path in this video, but this is one of the series that, like I said, I'm super unsure about. I predicted in my original playoff predictions video, every first round prediction that I had ended up being right, and in the second round I actually went with the Dallas Mavericks in this series in 7 games, and I'm going to stay true to that belief because, hey, my predictions haven't failed me yet, but I will say I had to think about quite a bit whether or not I still believe that after seeing what we saw in the first round. And this is a tough one, man. Let's get into why I think this is such a good series on paper and how I think it'll shape out with the Mavs winning in 7 games. So yesterday I made a video on the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers series, and in that video I talked a lot about how in the NBA playoffs, generally probably about 9 times out of 10, the better team wins the series. Disregard everything I said about that for this video, right? The Thunder are, to me, the better team in this series. They have all of the strengths that you would need to win a series. They have the star power, they have the second and third option, really good ones. They have totally balanced their roster, and they have almost everything you need on paper to be able to match up with almost anyone, right? And that is no exception for the Dallas Mavericks. The Thunder have SGA, one of the greatest players in today's game. They have a really great number 2 option in Jalen Williams, a really great number 3 option in Chet Holmgren. They play really solid defense. They play really solid team basketball. They share the basketball. They have good shooting, good chemistry. Their coach is amazing. So why would I pick the Mavericks, right? Because listen, we know the Mavericks are no slouch either, right? They have a really good team as well. The reason I picked the Mavericks is because they have the best player in the series, and they have the best player in maybe the entire playoffs other than Nikola Jokic that's still remaining in this bracket, right? But you might say Dehave SGA is also very close to that level, if not on that level, right? Who's an MVP candidate this year. I had him second in my MVP voting. What's the reason that he can't rise to that occasion as well? Well, to be honest, there isn't many, right? Because SGA is a top 10 and played like a top 5 player this season. Also, I will say SGA didn't shoot the best in his first round matchup either against the Pelicans, but my point is, before I get off track here, OKC is a better team. Dallas has the better star power. Luka Doncic, like I said, is probably the second best player remaining in the playoffs. And while I think SGA might even be the third best player remaining in the playoffs, Kyrie Irving, if he plays anywhere near the level he did in that Clippers series, I mean, the dude was insane. This is like 2016 vintage prime Kyrie we saw in that Clippers series. If he plays like that or anywhere close to that, and Luka can just shoot a little bit better, I think the Mavs win this series in a close one in 7 games, like I said. And the reason is because no matter if you're a better team, that level of star power and offensive firepower is just almost nearly impossible to overcome, right? And while I think the Thunder are the much better roster overall and better team overall, I just think Luka and Kyrie are just gonna end up taking it. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's a certain level of star power you just can't overcome when they're at their best, and I think the Mavs have that. And not to discredit everyone else on the Mavs, because they actually have filled out their roster pretty nicely this year, especially after the deadline, getting guys like Daniel Gafford on the roster and PJ Washington. They have a lot of 3-and-D guys now, like Josh Green and Derek Jones Jr. and Tim Hardaway should be making a return from injury and stuff like that. So I think Dante Exum as well. The Mavs have a lot going for them. The Thunder are the better team. We can talk about that a little bit, because that is why it was hard for me to predict against the Thunder, because like I said, I do believe they are just better. You look at their roster right now, they have maybe the best 3-man punch other than like Denver and Boston in the entire playoffs left, and that goes for both sides of the ball. All 3 of those guys are 2-way players: SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren's going to cause a lot of issues for Dallas in the paint, with his rim protection and his ability to stretch the floor as a 5. I mean, bring Daniel Gafford and company, their big men, out of the paint on the other end of the floor so that SGA can get to the basket, which is what he does best. That is something to note for this series. But the Thunder have a lot of shooting on their roster as well. Isaiah Joe, to me, has been one of the unsung heroes of this entire NBA season for the Thunder. The Thunder getting that 1 seed, and Isaiah Joe, big part of why they're so good this season. The Thunder have really lacked a shooter like that for a long time, and when you have guys like SGA and Jalen Williams who want to get to the basket, spacing the floor with an elite shooter like that is really important. So unfortunately, he couldn't still be on my Sixers, but that's a different topic. The point I'm trying to make is I think this is going to be a really close series. I think there are going to be games where Luka and Kyrie don't play their best, and that's when the Thunder have to strike. The Thunder have a great home floor advantage as well. Let's talk about that a little bit. Game 7 would be at home. Game 5 would be at home. The Thunder have a really great building and a great NBA fan base. Tough place to play for Dallas. You know, I know Dallas, their fans are great as well, but the Thunder have to, you know, win those home games. I think early in the series is going to be the most important factor. Whoever wins game 2, I think could win the series, because I think, you know, the Thunder will come out their best, but I think if the Dallas Mavericks split the first 2 games in this series, I think they win the series, because Thunder really have to protect home floor. You know, you don't want to go down 2-0 if you're Dallas to a better team. Like I said, you know, if you don't have the best roster like the Dallas Mavericks in this regard, you want to be able to make sure you keep the series even as best you can, because, you know, when it's down 2-0 and you're looking at a better team on the other side of the floor, you know, it's tough to come back against a team like that. So I think early in the series can be the best indicator of who wins these first couple games, could probably determine the series, right? But like I said, when you have Luka and Kyrie, it's just so unpredictable. You know, I could see a scenario where the Thunder come out and they just play way better than the Mavericks as a team. They just exploit all their weaknesses, and, you know, Luka and Kyrie play their best, but they just can't do anything about it. It's too much, right? The other scenario, like I said, is that, you know, Luka and Kyrie just steal a couple games here and there, make it close, and in a close series, you know, with game 6 and game 7, I'm taking Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Luka in a game 7 is just not who you want to see, and I'd bet on that guy all day long in a game 7. I'm not discrediting SGA, because I think his performance in this series is going to be the deciding factor. You know, if we get the SGA we saw in the regular season, not that I'm saying he played bad in the first round of the playoffs, but he did shoot kind of poorly, especially from 3. So he's got to be a little bit better offensively in the Mavericks series. Luka does as well, but I would expect that to happen. Another thing, I think, like I talked about in yesterday's video, the Thunder play pretty fast and they like to speed people up, and the Mavericks are very slow and methodical. I expect that to be a big factor in this series. You know, if you could speed the Dallas Mavericks up, that's what you want to do. Luka's so smart, he'll probably figure out a way to, you know, respond to that in the best way he can, but you definitely want to speed the Mavs offense up and just their tempo in general. So if the Thunder can control the tempo, which I would expect them to be able to, that could be one of the determining factors in this series. But either way, I think Dallas and the Thunder is going to be one of the best series in the entire playoffs. I expect it to go 7 games, and this is the one series, like I said, I'm probably expecting to be maybe wrong about, because it is one of the harder series to predict for me, especially since the Thunder, I believe, are the better team. But listen, Dallas is right up there and they have the better stars, so it's not a massive gap like this, it's more like this. But, you know, that is a big deal in the playoffs, and I'm not trying to, you know, disrespect the Thunder, because I think they've been disrespected all season and throughout the playoffs, but I'm just telling you what I honestly believe, you know what I mean? So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys don't want to miss any more videos like this. We're going to be talking about playoff stuff, playoff predictions, previews, all that good stuff. Now, who do you have in this series? Because I could see a world where a lot of people pick the Thunder. You know, I looked at game 1 and they're heavily favored in this series, the Thunder, so it could be really, really interesting. You know, the difference, I would expect the opinions to vary quite a bit on this series, and I know Dallas is a pretty big favorite amongst, you know, the NBA community that I've seen, like maybe the second best team behind Denver, and Denver's in trouble right now. It's a different video, but sorry for, you know, I didn't script this video much. Sorry for if I'm all over the place. I do apologize. I'm trying to keep it more concise, and I think you guys enjoy that more, but sometimes it's just not easy for me. I'm a scatterbrain. What can I say? Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, make sure you guys drop a like on it. If you do, let me know down in the comments who you have in this series, and what do you think will be the determining factor? Do you think the better team wins in the Thunder, which is, like I said, most of the time that happens? I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 in terms of series, the better team wins. But do you think Luka and Kyrie are just too good for that to even be the case? Let me know down in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, like I said, because we're going to be uploading stuff like this every single day on the channel. Tomorrow we're going to have more predictions and previews for a different series, so check out my other videos. You know, we do a lot of stuff like this. Playoffs are best time of year for a basketball fan, and I just love basketball more than anything in the world, so make sure you guys check out my stuff if you guys are new. And, you know, hopefully you guys will join Dehave Nation, because we got a great community we're trying to build every single day, trying to grind, trying to grow. I just want to genuinely share a lot of my, you know, basketball appreciation and just admiration for the game every day with you guys, and that's why I do this. So make sure you guys stick around if you guys have a similar love for the game of basketball. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today. Hopefully your favorite NBA team wins their next game. And hopefully your favorite team is Denver, because they really need a win, man, and they're going to be in trouble if they lose 2 games at home to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is your boy Dehave, and as always, peace.